Welcome to Any-Foody's kitchen. Today I'll be making ratatouille, one of my favorites. Let's get started. I'm going to start off by emptying out all the seeds and the core, and then we're going to roast these. We're also going to clean the onion and we're going to chop it in half, making it easier to cook. We're going to chop one tomato in half. We're going to place all of that on a lined and oiled baking sheet, and we're going to bake it at 400 until everything is fully cooked. We're going to set aside our chopping boards. We're going to pull out a slicer. If you don't have this and you're doing it by knife, it's going to take a lot longer, but that's okay. I'm going to start off with 2 zucchinis. Be careful not to cut yourself. Empty those out into a little bowl and set aside. Now we're going to go in with 2 yellow squash, 2 tomatoes, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Now we're going to do 2 eggplants. If your veggies are still cooking in the oven like mine are, I recommend adding a little bit of water to your eggplants so they don't turn brown while we're waiting. While we're waiting, go find a red wine that you like, or just any red wine that's sitting around the house. Now that I got it, let's open it up. Now let's measure it out. I use about 3 tablespoons in my sauce. These aren't completely done, and that's alright. We're going to keep cooking it in the sauce. We're going to throw everything in here. I'm going to go blend this. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm going to start a pan on the stove with about half a stick of butter. Before that butter's completely melted, we're going to pour in about 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of cilantro, 2 tablespoons of chicken bouillon, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and we're going to cook the seasonings for about 30 seconds to a minute. That smells so yummy. I'm going to add in our sauce. I left mine a little chunky just because that's how I like mine. Feel free to strain it or blend it for as long as you'd like. I'm going to pour in about a tablespoon of hot sauce. And our wine. Now I'm going to cook it for 5 minutes. My sauce is done. I'm going to take a lined cake pan. You can also use a pie pan. Anything circular works. And I'm going to fill it with said sauce. I'm going to fill the base of this with our sauce. You don't want to have too much. Swirl that around, get that all settled. Now we're going to do the fun part of putting everything correctly. So we're going to do zucchini, squash, tomato, eggplant. And we're going to keep that in a spiraling motion until the whole pan is filled up. As a story time while we're doing this together, I was maybe 4 or 5, I can't really remember, when I made my first recipe, which was ratatouille after watching the movie, of course. And we are a meat lover family, and so we put ground beef in the sauce. And so it made it a little clumpy and a little hard to do all that fancy plating, but when you're a little kid, you don't really care very much. And so if you want to do that and you don't plan on making anything else, I recommend adding ground beef to your sauce. However, today I am going to be smoking some pork, which is very good with all these vegetables. Definitely recommend. And yeah. Let me know in the comments any story times you have, or if you think I could do more story times while I'm cooking with you guys. Now that I have this done, I'm going to drizzle a little bit of oil over it before covering the top. I'm going to put this in the oven at 400 for about 45 to 15 minutes, or until everything is completely done. The eggplant does take a little bit longer than everything else, so we want everything to be squishy and not firm when we're eating it, so it's not chewy. In the oven it goes! After about 30 minutes, you want to take off the covering that you put on, just so that everything can be nicely cooked on top as well. This is finally done, and it smells so good. I'm gonna go put it and I'll be right back. I'm not as fancy as Remy, so it doesn't look as gorgeous, but I'm gonna try it now. That is very good. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Join me next time for my next recipe.